Bum, 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 bum. Hey, everybody. I thought I would give a quick lesson on how to use the app Interface by WhenHub to make some money. Most of you know I am co-founder of the company that makes this app. It's called Interface by WhenHub. It is available in both the Apple Store and the Android Store. You could download it today, and you could also use it in your browser, as long as you know how to load an app in your browser. If you go to whenhub.com, it'll take you right to the site where you could use the app in your browser once you've downloaded the app for the browser, which I'll tell you about in a moment. So I wanted to give you some tips on not just how to find it and how to use it, but how to actually turn it into money. And I see a number of things that people are doing suboptimally, and I thought I would just call them out. All right, so the basic idea is that the app does two things. It lets you be an expert, and it lets you find an expert. And then once you find them on the app, you're connected for a video call, either immediately or you could schedule it if the expert allows scheduling. And then you can talk to them live. And here's the cool part. You don't exchange phone number or other contact information. So you have an anonymous, or as anonymous as you want to be, call with somebody without them ever having your contact information. They can charge by the time you're on the call, and they can set their price anywhere they want, even zero. And you could also, let's say, donate. So if you didn't want to use Patreon or other donation facilities for whatever reason, or you just wanted another one, this would be an additional one. So here's the app. Let's say that you've already signed up. It takes about a minute to sign up as an expert. There's no requirement. You just have to feel that you have something to offer. And as long as you describe your level of expertise accurately, everything's good. Charge for it what you will. If people want to pay for it, they will. So let's say I wanted to choose the find an expert. You can see a number of experts who are online or have been on recently. I would just use the search box I'm going to look for myself. I'm just going to put in my name because it is faster. So here's what a profile looks like. So here I am as an expert. And don't worry that you can't see the detail on the screen because I'll tell you what's important. So you see my big old face? You see there's a button here that says get notified. So right now I'm offline. But if you wanted to get notified when I go live, you would press that button and you would get an alert on your phone to say that I'm online, and then you could connect with me if you wanted to. But you also have a button that we just added for a donation. And if somebody presses this button, they can just use their credit card and they can make a donation to any of the experts on here. And if you scroll down, you can see a little bit more about the experts, all right? So the first thing I would like to suggest is that when you list your expertise, you be as specific as possible. If your expertise is just marketing, don't expect anybody to call because it's just too general. If your expertise is, let's say strategy, don't really expect anybody to call because nobody quite knows if that's the type of strategy that they care about. People tend to have pretty specific questions. So addiction is a good one. So if you were an addiction counselor, that's very specific. So that would be perfect. Another one that's working is one of the experts is giving advice if you have cancer on how to find a cancer treatment, because apparently it's not easy to find. So it's good to have a person to talk to who knows the layout of all the cancer treatment type options. So that's a perfect one because it's a perfect one because it's so specific and people really care. If you have cancer and you want to find a place to get a certain type of treatment, you're going to want to spend 10 minutes talking to somebody who knows how to do it. All right, so the more specific you are and the more dollar value that expertise, the better. Now, you don't have to be technically an expert. You could simply sign up and say, I will keep you company for $20 an hour. And you just have lunch with somebody on your phone. So it's just a video call and somebody says, I just need somebody to talk to. That's an expertise. Listening is an expertise. So don't get too caught up on how expert you need to be. If you know something and it's specific, you're in good shape. Your profile photo, so you can upload your own photo. You can see my big old head on there that looks a lot like me. Here's my advice. You want a clear, not a fuzzy photo, and you want to have a photo that shows you in the context that you want people to think of you as an expert, right? So if I were a medical expert, I would make sure my picture had me in some kind of a medical coat. If I were a scientist, I would make sure it was a picture of me around some sciencey looking stuff. If I'm a lumberjack, I want to be in the forest, right? Nobody wants to talk to a scientist that shows a picture of them playing softball. So make sure your picture has a little context. That's important. It's a current picture. It shows your full face, and it shows that you're not hiding who you are. People will trust that. Remember, our visual sense overwhelms all of our other senses. So if it doesn't look right, nobody's calling, okay? Your biography, so you've got a little place that you can put something about you in your profile. It's easy to find all the menus, so I'm not going to go into that. Make sure your profile tells the story you want to say. Put a little time into it. Not a lot of time. I'm talking 5 minutes. But put some time into making sure that it paints your expertise in the right light. Then do a little A/B testing. A/B testing, in this context, A/B testing means maybe you try one price and see if anybody contacts you. If that doesn't work, try a different price. Maybe you try a different biography. Maybe you experiment with the photo. Maybe you change the description of your expertise a little bit. So experiment. Don't expect that the first thing you try will be the winning combination. I'm going to talk about this last, how to add buttons to your page. You can schedule your availability. So we've added this since the app came out. Now, if you're the expert, you go to your own page and you can schedule when you'll be available for office hours. I have scheduled my own availability so that if you went to my page and you scroll down, you'd have to scroll down, right? So if this was me as an expert and you saw that I was not online, you could scroll down and see, oh, wait a minute, he's put his schedule there. So I actually am scheduled to be live right after this. But I've made my topic ask me about fine people. So if you're a member of the press and you'd like to get a quote on a really interesting story, which is me tracking down the origin of the fake news that the president once said that there were fine people among the races. Now, if you're following that saga, that's been debunked, but the story itself of how it's been debunked is fascinating. So if anybody wants to talk to me and you're a member of the press, I will be available for a live call right after I'm done with this. All right. You want to be able to use social media, your own and others, to broadcast your availability. Let's say I wanted to do let's say I wanted to be an expert and I wanted to talk about my experience with a rare medical condition called spasmodic dysphonia. This is something I actually had, and it was the inability to speak, which lasted for about 3 years for me. Now, if I put the keywords spasmodic dysphonia in the app, well, you'd have to depend on the rare people who have this problem to come across the app and be looking for it. And until the audience gets a lot bigger on the app, the odds of that are low. But the people who care about this condition are very well organized. So if you did a social media post, let's say Facebook or Twitter, and you did hashtag spasmodic dysphonia, everybody would say it. Not everybody, but the people who care about that weird little corner of the world will track that hashtag. And they'll see that there's an expert that they can talk to right now. And that would be powerful. So use your own social media and hashtag it, and hope that that hashtag finds the organizations that are naturally predisposed to talking to somebody like you. All right. You can either, as I said, you can either charge people for your time, or if you think that people are not going to believe how useful you are, you could take a chance. You could experiment and say, I'm going to give my advice for free, but if you like it, there's a button on here you could donate later. It's up to you. So you'd have that option, donation or charge for your time. And then patience, because the first time you sign up, people are not going to be flooding toward you. Maybe it takes a month for us to build enough audience so there's enough natural traffic on there. But here's the new thing that we just added, and I think this will make a big difference to you. You can now add buttons and links to your profile. So let's say you had a web page, a blog, but somewhere you control the page. So you've got a website or just a blog. Could be a WordPress blog, any other kind of blog. You can now add our buttons and our links that will take the user directly over to your expert page. And you can do it in 3 different ways. You can grab the link and just put it in your profile, and then people will go to the page that shows your profile. Because remember, this is duplicated on the browser. If you go to WhenHub.com, you'll get the same function as the Interface by WhenHub app that's on your mobile phone. So a link will take them to at least the website, and if the person has the app, it'll take them to the app. But it works both ways. So here's how you would do that if you wanted to add a button. You would go to your laptop. You would go to WhenHub.com. You would go to the search post, and let's say that you've already created a profile. So this next part depends on the fact that you've already created a profile on the Interface app. If you have, you can search for your profile here. Here I'm just searching for my last name. And you see that lots of profiles come up, and then you can't see it well. But one of these profiles is me, and I'm going to click on it. You don't need to see the details, so don't worry if you can't see the screen. I'm going to talk you through it. Here you see a reproduction of my profile. So it's on a phone, it could be on an iPad, and here it is on a browser. If you wanted to grab your button, so now I'm looking at my own profile, there are 3 ways you can do it. And again, don't worry, you can't see the details because I'm going to tell you what's here. One of them is just to copy the link. Just copy it, put it in your Twitter, and it will take people right to this page, or it will open the app if they have the app. Or you can add a profile button that looks like the little photo of you and says you're an interface expert, and you can actually paste that onto your page. So you could have a little thing that actually indicates if you're live on here. So in other words, your web page could have a button, let's call it a button, but it's a little image that will indicate in real time if you're live on the app or not. And then anybody who comes across your web page will know to use the app to find you. And they can just click on this to click through to the app. If you were an organization, this is really useful. So if you've got a website for your organization and you know that people are always calling in to ask questions, you can either charge them for the time, but you don't have to. We don't require it. You could just put 0 price and say, okay, you can click this button and I'll be live in a video call. But here's the cool thing. Remember, you're not exchanging user contact information. So the people calling in are not going to know your phone number, you're not going to know theirs, and that's good for privacy. The third way is the donate button. You can just click this button and it will copy the HTML code to paste a button into your own web page that says donate. And then you can put your own text around this that says, if you would like to support me for this or that, here's the donate button. If they press that donate button, they'll eventually go through the prompts to donate. Now, the people who are donating in our current model, they have to also have signed up, not as an expert, but just signed up for the app. So in the current version, both people have to sign up for the app, but again, it takes 60 seconds to sign up for the app. We're working on a version that would let somebody who doesn't have an account on the Interface app to also donate, and that will be out fairly soon. But at the moment, that's a limit. Now, if you want to use the Interface by WhenHub app on your computer, as opposed to its form on the mobile or the iPad, you can go to WhenHub.com, but you are going to have to, let me back up to this page. You're going to have to, if you can see up here, there's a little banner that says to download, download for Mac. So on my Mac, I would have to download it. It's something called a DMG file. A little prompt will come up to tell you to drag it over to a folder. And that's pretty much all you do. And then you have it loaded on your machine. So the process of loading the app on your browser is click a link. It'll tell you what to do. You drag it something into a folder, you're done. All right. That, I believe, covers the basics. So if you have a website and you want to add a button to it, go to whenhub.com and we'll give you a donate button. You have to be signed up for the app, which is free. It takes about a minute. And the people donating at the moment have to have an account also, which is also free and also takes about a minute. All right. I am going to end this Periscope on that. And then I'm going to be available for those of you watching this live. I'm going to be available in a few minutes to take some calls on Interface. And anybody who wants to call me, press only about the question of the fine people. I will take your call. And I hope this was useful. Somebody asked about screen sharing. That's in the works. So we're working on that upgrade that will apply, I think, to the laptop version. But yeah, screen sharing is coming. And thank you.